we go shepherding every day. What I mean by that is we're going to drive around each group of livestock. I take a bit of food for them. For the main groups of breeding stock, it's not actually really for nutrition, it's more just to keep them friendly. It's far easier when they squash a fence at midnight to be able to shake a bag and them just come running towards you rather than having to take the dogs, try and get the dogs to round them up in the middle of the night. So it's a bit of a cheat code really, but you just rustle a bag every day, give them a few nuts. When the time comes or whatever, you just shake a bag, give them a shout and they come running back towards you.
The farm hack.
Yeah. Well, it's just lovely weather. It's like a crisp, cold autumn morning. Drive around, arm out the window. Livestock always looks better on a sunny day because like us, when it's raining, they're all hunched over and feeling a bit miserable. When it's cold, crisp and sunny, it's a better day really for a bit of farming. Fuck off back to the city. How you doing? You like Fred and Bonnie?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favourite cow? Or Lily, what noise do cows make? And what noise do sheep make? And what noise do pigs make? Can you show us a Pepper? What noise does Pepper make? Oh, watch out, love. Come on, get up. Ready, get up. So the reason for bringing them a bit of food around every day, it's not really enough to make them fat or make them grow any more than they already would off the hay we're feeding them. But like a few weeks ago, they got out and they were trampling around in some crops that stand about 3 foot high, probably half a mile away, and it was 10 o'clock at night. And so rather than going and trying to chase them back with the dogs, but having them friendly and knowing what basically a bag of food sounds like means that I can walk and find them, shake the bucket at them, then they just follow me back to the field. And they even followed me back through the hole that they'd made in the fence. Then I just put them in a different field overnight until I had time to come and fix the fence the next day.
How did you know there were any other fields?
I was at home finishing off working and I could hear them, what I'd call bawling. They were mooing basically, which is a sign of distress or excitement, depending on whether they're stressed out or whether they've just got out of the field and are mega excited to be tearing around in someone's wheat field. So yeah, I heard that, came up here, and yeah, they weren't anywhere to be seen. So these are our breeding ewes, so we're just coming up to, main things we're looking for is lameness and flies. So lameness being when they've got a problem with their feet. Sheep are renowned for getting issues with their feet. A lot of the time it's like a fungal infection called scald in between the two toes, if you like. Like you see that one over there is just limping a little bit, but we're pretty on top of it. But any like rough grass like we got in here or thistles can irritate their feet and cause scald. If you're getting too much foot rot, it's generally like if you're on top of sheep's feet, it doesn't become foot rot or other problems. And all of these are pretty sound. Survival of the fittest. So if they're struggling to fit in and be low maintenance, then they get culled out of a flock to make way for replacement ewe lambs, which we'll select off the best ewes in the flock. Yesterday, when we were drenching the lambs, I was talking about the different ear tags so we can look up which are our most like prolific, well-behaved sheep, if you like, and then we can, if we want, only select ewe lambs from them. So we're constantly trying to up the level of sheep that we're breeding from. I give them a bucket of food 2 or 3 times a week, just to keep them friendly. So then, rather than having to chase them around, as you can see now, they're just keen to come and say hello. And if they get out, just shake a bag at them. So at lambing time, as a management tool, if I have a problem with any ewes, so either they have a real bad lambing, they're lame, they've got a bad udder, so that means they've either got mastitis or their udders aren't in perfect condition, I'll put a round red tag in their ear along with their other tags, which we have to have by law, which means later on in the year, once lambing's all forgotten about, the only way, that's how I distinguish something that needs culling out of a flock. Because if I don't do that, it gets to this time of year, everything's fat and happy, and I won't remember, perhaps if, like for instance, this ewe with a red line down her back, that might be that she rejected her lambs. And obviously if you've got however many 100 sheep in a shed that you're lambing, you need to breed sheep that are going to just, when the lambs are born, they let the lamb get up and suck, and they're good mothers. So if they're bad mothers, they get culled out of a flock, basically. Am I talking or what?
I don't know.
Dad always used to say, I can remember like as a kid, him saying the most important time of shepherding is actually standing doing nothing, just looking at your livestock. It feels like unproductive time. Like when you think of any other job, you think standing still is the least productive thing ever, but it's a time when you're watching how the sheep are moving, like are they twitching their ears, are their eyes looking bright, and sometimes it pays to just stand for 10 or 15 minutes and just watch them, because that's when you might pick up on the small problems that they might have, which you can nip them in the bud rather than waiting for them to have a real big problem or an infection. Because they're just like humans. Even something as subtle as a sheep's ears not pricking up how they normally do and being a bit down, or their eyes looking a bit squint, can be an indicator that there's something wrong. So she was a real expensive pedigree sheep.
How do you tell the difference?
So these have just got a slightly browner, greyier skin on their face, whereas the Clins have got a pure white face. We bait every bit of cardboard on the farm that comes in from our suppliers, we bale up. So that has about 30 tonnes of pressure. It keeps squashing it down till a half-ton bale's produced. We then tie the bale off, tip it out, stack them under a shed, and then when we've got enough for a lorry load, they're sent a lorry load at a time to a recycling centre. They then turn it into whatever they want to turn it into, bedding for your guinea pig or more paper, or I don't know what they do, but that's one of the ways we try and be as eco-friendly as possible. Killed on 50%. So I'm just sticking them in the printer. Here we've got a Frisian steer which we've just unloaded. And when I print these little labels off, I'll label up every single piece of meat, so then as the boys and girls are breaking it down into its individual cuts, then we can have traceability right the way through the process.
So we're heading up to the abattoir, the lamb abattoir, Melton Meats, which is all of 1 mile away from us, and that's where we have our own home-killed lambs slaughtered, or that's where we source the local lambs from local farmers to us here in Rutland. So we're going to go pick some of them up and then bring them back to the farm, and they'll then be sold at this weekend's local markets here in Rutland, and they'll also come down to London with me to be sold at Borough Market. Can't forget the most important bit, the organs.